But anyway, um, basically, do not rely on your looks, okay? Because as I said before, your looks alone is not what's going to make a man want to stay. I mean, I know a lot of times I repeat myself, and I'm sorry that I do that. And I'm also sorry for my poor grammar. and, and this, I, I just realized I'm like messing up on my sentences quite a lot in this one, but that's what I get for trying to do these videos being half asleep. Sorry about that. And also, I also realized I accidentally said her instead of his when I talked about men being loyal to their women. Sorry about that too. But anyway, what's really gonna make him want to stay is if you have a beautiful personality. I mean, even if you are truly a 10, that you're a 10 and you're a very beautiful woman, unless you're with the shady guy that's just with you just because all he cares about is looks, ultimately what's really gonna make him want to stay is if you have a beautiful personality and if you respect him as a man. That's what's really going to make him want to stay. If you have more of an attitude like the virtuous woman instead of the brawling woman, that's what's gonna make him want to stay, and that's gonna make him want to put a ring on your finger. And going back to my stepdad, that tells the difference between my stepdad's ex-wife and my mom. Because my stepdad's ex-wife, she was physically abusive, mentally abusive, and almost abusive in every way possible. I mean, she would hit him. She tried to stab him, and she pointed a gun at him and different things. And she's also cheated on him. She's crazy. Even now, since they've been divorced for at least 12 years or more, she still acts crazy and she still tries to control him, even though he's been divorced with her for 12 years and now he's remarried to, he's married to my mom. I don't say remarried, but married to my mom. But anyway, very much. So basically, his ex-wife is very much like the brawling woman, and she's also the strange woman as well. Yeah, that I'm just gonna leave it at that. So after they got divorced, she would use their son to try to demolish any relationship that my stepdad had. Before he met my mom, she tried to use their son, to also demolish the relationship he had with my mom as well. But before my mom, they succeeded every time. Every time they've pushed every woman that my stepdad had in his life to the point where they couldn't take it no more and left. But with my mom, it was different. My mom was actually showing him what a real good woman looks like, because my mom is more of a virtuous woman and not the brawling woman. And as my stepdad was starting to realize some things, and because of how my mother was treating him and treat him well, he finally he started to realize how his ex-wife was being, so he started to refuse to listen to her, which drove her crazy. And yeah, she still tried to use their son to demolish, his relationship with my stepmom, but it did not work. She even tried sending my stepdad pictures and stuff of talking about how she misses, him looking like this and stuff. And when he would try to pick up his son from her, she would purposely try to rub her perfume on her. I mean, on him. Did again on him to try to get him in trouble with my mom and other things. I mean, she's just straight up wacko, super controlling. She's one of those women that she doesn't want to be with him, but she don't want him to be with someone else. She just wants full control over him, type of thing. And when she was starting to lose control, she just started to go berserk. I'll just say that way. And then, right before my stepdad and mom got married, she was trying to tell him, oh, you don't want to, remarry again. You don't want to be remarried again. You don't want to be with her. She's gonna blah blah. She's this, she's that, blah blah. And this is coming from a woman who cheated on him, who beated him, who pulled a gun on him, who pulled a knife on him. This is coming from a brawling, crazy, cuckoo woman. And she's telling him, oh, you're making the biggest mistake of your life. Sweetie, the biggest mistake of his life was marrying you. You brawling ex-wife. Not my mom. Listen, my mom is nothing like her. She acts more like the virtuous woman, and my stepdad saw that. But when he finally realized he could trust my mom, because my mom and her actions proved that she's worthy of his trust, guess what? He put that ring on her finger, and they got married. And it wasn't easy for my mom either. It was not easy for her, especially having his ex-wife and their son acting, doing what they was doing. It was not easy for her. But she chose to stick with them and stick to it. And they're a happy couple. They've been married. Let's see, they were together for quite some years before they got married. I think they was together for at least 4 years. And then they got married. And I think they've been together for maybe 7 years, I think, now. But the reason why my stepdad was so hesitant on marrying her was because, of what he went through with that ex-wife. I mean, so I can, understand why, he was hesitant. And also, I mean, us ladies, we need to stop watching Disney movies and have that to be our expectation of what a relationship should be. Because that's just fiction. It's not always going to be rainbows and daisies. I mean, when my husband and I were first married, just like all other couples do, it was hard at first. It was hard at first and it was rough. And there are some things that he needed to work on, and there's things that I needed to work on. But when we finally started to listen to each other and stopped being bullheaded and started to listen to each other, and I started acting more like the virtuous wife, and I still got to work on that, by the way, I admit. But the more I act more like the virtuous wife, and the more I love and appreciate him, the more he's willing to listen to me and things like that. I mean, like I said, it goes both ways. It's not just a one-side thing. And ultimately, God is really what saved our marriage. When I wanted to give up, God told me to keep working at it, so to speak. And I'm glad that I listened to him, because me and my husband are a whole lot better now than what we used to be when we was first married. We've come a long way. And in a marriage, it's a journey. It's not going to be, happiness all the time. There's going to be times when you'll face trials. But if I have not said before, I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it. That's what really tests if you really love each other or not, is the trials, not the honeymoon phase. And as one of my standards before I met my husband, one of my standards on a guy that I would be with, if I knew if he was the right one for me or not. Well, before I get into that, I'll explain where where I got the idea from. See, I used to work at a warehouse, and I worked there for almost 2 years when I was 19 to 22 years old. And there was a man named Keith that I was working with. He had a wife who, that was in a wheelchair. She was very sick. And I even met her at a company picnic. But he had an affair with one of the girls that me and him worked with. And, well, he left his wife for her. And when things did not work out with this particular gal, he tried to go back with his ex-wife. And his ex-wife, basically told him, no, you done betrayed me. I don't want you back. And I don't blame her. And it brought on me thinking, what if I became disabled? What if I got cancer? What if I got sick? What if something happens and I got burned on, burned scars to my face? Or what if I lost a limb? Or what if this or that? Would he still love me? Would he still be there for me? Will he still be there for me? And I would have to answer that question based solely on his personality and how he treats me. Not based off of what I hope or what I want to think, but what I know, going based off of how he treats me in the relationship. And if I can say, yeah, he would, then that tells me I might have something real with that person. And with my husband, I know for a fact that's how it'd be. If something happened to me, my husband is not just going to go off and be with some other girl. He's going to stay with me, and vice versa. If something happened to him, I'm not just going to up and leave him to be with someone else. Like if my husband was overseas, if he joined the army and went overseas, I'm not going to, chill on him. And for me, that's when it's one thing when a person cheats on the other that they're with and stuff all the time. It's another when they do it when, say, like their spouse is fighting for a country, or if their spouse is, disabled or have cancer, or, things like that. I mean, because in a situation like that, it's like a double blow or a triple blow. And I just cannot imagine how horrible that feels. I mean, I was really I very much pitied, that guy that I worked with. I very much pitied his ex-wife. It just broke my heart, how much he hurt her. And she was a lovely woman. She was a lovely woman, she was a kind person. I just couldn't get it, But what I want to ask all you ladies is that if you're going to get upset with your man over the littlest things all the time, what confidence can he have that you will stay with him, be loyal to him, if he loses money, or if he lost a limb, or if he cannot walk anymore, or if he got some sort of, disease that he probably won't get cured from? Or, if he hits rock bottom. I mean, if you're going to be petty with him over little things, what confidence can he have in you that you're going to be there with him when times get really hard? Because you see, going back to my stepdad and his ex-wife and my mom, his ex-wife not only would not really be there for anything, she, abused him and tried to make his life a like a hell, like a living hell, even after they was divorced. While my mom stuck out with him even when times were really hard. When times got tough, my mom stuck it out with him. If you want a real relationship with a good man, you have got to be more like the virtuous woman. Being a brawling woman is not going to get you there. You want a man to be able to love you when you get old, when you both are getting older, regardless if you got wrinkles or not. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with doing Botox or makeup or whatever. I'm not against those things, but I personally just don't see the point in doing Botox and all these creams and anti-aging creams and stuff. I just don't see the point. Because at the end of the day, you're still going to age. Your body's still going to age. You're still going to get those wrinkles. You're still going to look older. It does not matter how much Botox you get or surgeries, whatever. It's not going to stop you from aging. So I just don't see the point of trying to stop the inevitable. But, if it makes you feel better to do that, more power to you. But at the end of the day, like I said, if you want him to still love you and stay with you when you're old, it's you having a personality of a quiet spirit, gentle soul, virtuous woman is what's going to keep him around. Or even if, you're still in a relationship with a man and you still act like a brawling woman, it's probably not much of a relationship at all. It's probably the kind of relationship where he hardly puts his arms around you and you hardly even look at each other. You're just roommates. And that's not a real relationship either. Ladies, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be heard. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be able to say what you want to say. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't do it so much to the point to where you completely crush down the other person. You don't have to. You do not have to tear the other person apart in order for you to get your point across. It is not, masculinity that's destroying women or that's killing femininity. It's the whole radical feminist movement is what's doing that. And I know I made this a whole way too much longer than I intended to, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I'm always so long-winded. I honestly don't mean to be. I honestly do not. I honestly do not mean to be so long-winded. I just hope that someone could listen to this, and understand. But the last thing I'm going to say, and you're probably saying, yes, finally. Don't blame you. But anyway, the last thing I'm going to say is that you should also check out a YouTube channel called Pink Book Lessons. I highly recommend it. That lady that does it she does it very well. She's much more a better, she's more articulate than I am. And, she explains things very well when it comes to, this sort of, kind of topic of how women should treat men and stuff. She does a terrific job. I mean, for the most part, she does very well. She's even taught me some things. And I appreciate, the work she puts into it. She does a very good job. And, she happens to see this, shout out to you, Pink Book Lessons. I appreciate what you do, and, and I hope that, more women are, will listen to what you gotta say. I wish I could remember where it's at, but there is a scripture that talks about, and I'm not saying that you're older because you don't sound older, but there's a scripture that talks about the elder women teaching the younger women to love and respect their man. I think you might be around my age. I'm 30, and because just hearing her voice, the lady off Pink Book Lessons, she sounds like she's probably around maybe her late 20s or 30s. I don't know. It's just because you just hear her talk basically. But even if she is my age, I still very much say she's acting like an elder woman teaching younger women. I think in a way she's fulfilling, that part of scripture quite well. So, shout out to her, and also, ladies, if you do check out her channel, please have an open mind and open heart about it, and also read the comments from what the men are saying, on her channel as well. And again, have an open mind about it. Don't pull your hair out and get mad and upset. Just please consider what they're saying. Please consider and take note of what they are saying. Don't just completely dismiss it just because you think they might be saying something you personally disagree with. Have an open mind and heart about it, and listen to what they're saying. I hope all is well with you all. I love you all. I'm sorry again that I made this so long. I'm so sorry. Hopefully someday I can get better at this and make them shorter. I'm sorry. I don't know what else I can say, but sorry that they're so long. I apologize for that. But have a great day. Shalom.